The Daily Stoic, on the topic of clarity, January 14th. Cut the strings that pull your mind. Understand at last that you have something in you more powerful and divine than what causes the bodily passions and pulls you like a mere puppet. What thoughts now occupy your mind? Is it not fear, suspicion, desire, or something like that? Marcus Aurelius, Meditations, 12.19. Think of all the interests vying for a share of your wallet, or for a second of your attention. Food scientists are engineering products to exploit your taste buds. Silicon Valley engineers are designing applications as addictive as gambling. The media is manufacturing stories to provoke outrage and anger. These are just a small slice of the temptations and forces acting on us, distracting us and pulling us away from the things that truly matter. Marcus, thankfully, was not exposed to these extreme parts of our modern culture, but he knew plenty of distracting sinkholes too. Gossip, the endless call of work, as well as fear, suspicion, lust. Every human being is pulled by these internal and external forces that are increasingly more powerful and harder to resist. Philosophy is simply asking us to pay careful attention and to strive to be more than a pawn. As Viktor Frankl puts it in The Will to Meaning, man is pushed by drives, but pulled by values. These values and inner awareness prevent us from being puppets. Sure, paying attention requires work and awareness, but isn't that better than being jerked about on a string? Over the past few days, we've had quotes from Epictetus primarily, so it's good to see a quote from somebody else. However, we are again sort of repeating ourselves, as this one does primarily seem to focus on the idea of making sure you avoid your addictions. While not the addictions of things like drugs, ones that are talked about are things such as social media, food, and the mainstream media as a whole with its news cycle, all of which are very addicting. Ones that are talked about in Marcus's time are things like gossip, work, fear, suspicion, and lust. Each of these addictions are a loss of control. When you engage with one, you're proving that you don't have control over yourself. You're acting solely on an instinct or an addiction. Going back to the topic we've had for the past few days, the idea of knowing what is in your control and what is outside of your control comes to mind. While it's not in your control to change how Silicon Valley develops their applications or how food companies produce their food, it is in your control to decide whether or not to engage in it. And as the reading says, it takes a lot of effort to be aware of these things and to control yourself, as being aware and having self-control over your actions is the best way to live. I'd like to thank you for listening to today's reading. I'll see you tomorrow.